Good morning, and welcome to the Sunday morning sermon for Black Rock Baptist Church. This is number 4, the final message in our series on total forgiveness. And we're looking at Luke chapter 6, verses 27 through 36. Love your enemies. That may well have been the most difficult thing Jesus ever said. Even when we hear it in church, it is extremely difficult to believe that Jesus really means what he says. But in case you have any doubts about it, just consider the way this command is explained. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who curse you. Pray for those who abuse you. And if that's not enough, Jesus gives us some examples so we can't weasel and squirm our way out of the truth. We can ignore what he says if we want to, but we can't deny that he said it. If someone strikes you, turn the other cheek. If they take your shirt, give them your jacket too. If a beggar comes to you, give him something. If someone steals your money, don't demand it back. Then we have Luke's version of the golden rule: treat others as you would like to be treated. And Jesus anticipates our objection here. We say, well, Lord, I love people who love me. As Frank Burns on the TV show MASH said, he said, it's nice to be nice to nice people. Sure it is. But it doesn't win you any points with the Lord. Even sinners are nice to nice people. Then, like any good preacher, Jesus repeats his main point just in case we haven't gotten it yet. Love your enemies. Do good, even to people who you know will treat you rudely in return. Be willing for others to take advantage of you. Don't go around thinking that you deserve something in return. That's not why you forgive others. That's not why you love your enemies. After all, you might forgive someone who was a jerk, and they will still likely be a jerk after you forgive them. And you may love your enemies, and they may still be your enemies tomorrow morning. Well, let's just stop there for a moment and realize that these are truly radical sayings by Jesus. A man once commented to me that everything in the world teaches us about human relationship, or anything in the world that teaches us about human relationships is wrong. Compared to what most of us have heard, these words of Jesus are literally out of this world. That is, they come from another place altogether. If we take these words seriously, as we should, we'll find ourselves at odds with the conventional wisdom most people take for granted. Why then should we even live this way? What's in it for us? Jesus gives us 2 answers to that question. First of all, you'll receive a great reward. I think he primarily means a great reward in heaven, but there are also great rewards even in this life when we love our enemies. Perhaps the greatest reward is that by loving our enemies, we are set free from bitterness and anger. Love and hate cannot exist in the same place at the same time. If we love our enemies, we will not hate them. It's as simple as that. And secondly, you will demonstrate that you are a true child of God. God specializes in being kind to the unkind and showing mercy to mean people. He specializes in showering his grace upon sinners, and he loves to turn enemies into friends. When we love our enemies, we're showing forth the character of God to the world and proving that we are part of God's family. There ought to be a family resemblance that everyone can clearly recognize. That's why the text ends with these words, "Be merciful, even as your Father is merciful." Did you get that? Your Father. If we say that God is our Father, then we have an obligation to show forth his character to the world. And what better way to do that than by the way we treat our enemies? That leads us to a very practical question. Who are my enemies? In the broadest sense, an enemy is anyone who turns against me. The dictionary defines an enemy as one who feels hatred toward, intends injury to, or opposes the interests of another. It's important, as we think about what Jesus said, that we not restrict the term enemy to people like the Hitlers and the Husseins and the Bin Ladens of the world. They were certainly enemies of our nation, but these men are not my personal enemies. My personal enemies tend to be much closer to home. In fact, home is the place that we look for our enemies. Jesus himself said, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household." Matthew chapter 10, verse 36. In that very passage, he specified those family relationships that sometimes go sour. A father and son, a mother and daughter, a father-in-law and a son-in-law. We can easily move on from that list to other close relationships, including parent-child, husband-wife, and on to grandparents and uncles and aunts, and then to various distant relatives. The enemies we are told to love usually are not people in Iraq or North Korea. Most of us will never visit those countries. But we do have to go home every day and face people who may not be glad to see us. Every week, we work with people who might dislike us. We may even come to church to see people who we'd rather not see. So let's just think on those three categories: at home, at work, and at church. That's where many of our enemies are found. Pastor James Thornhill tells how after preaching a message on forgiveness, he received a very honest email from someone who had read the printed version of that sermon. He says, I have never met the person as far as I know. The writer who has never attended our church as far as I know. Here is part of the email. It says, "I am in the depths of unrelenting and what appears to be immovable unforgiveness due to serious wrongs and abuse committed against me by a very close friend who was also a believer. I have read anew the forgiveness scriptures. I have been receiving counsel. I have bought all the forgiveness books, but nothing has touched my heart and my spirit and my understanding like this message. Even as I write, I am crying as I know God is calling me to forgive this person for his sake, even as he has forgiven me. As I do, I stop dwelling on the pain and the hurt of it all. The years of anger and bitterness and resentment, it's beginning to subside." Those words have the ring of truth to them. Christians can hurt each other deeply and repeatedly. Sometimes we do it deliberately. Our feet are made of clay because we are sinners too. In a fallen world, people we thought we could trust let us down. Sometimes the people we love the most will turn against us, and sometimes it will happen over and over again, and we'll discover that our loved ones have become our enemies. Let's be more specific. Your child could be your enemy. Your husband could be your enemy. Your wife could be your enemy. Your parents. But it isn't just people out there somewhere, nameless, faceless, anonymous, evil people who are our enemies. Sooner or later, people that we love will hurt us. And at that point, for at least that moment, they become our enemies. And if we're honest enough to admit it, we've become their enemies. That's why these words of Jesus are so difficult. We are being instructed to love people very close to us who have hurt us very deeply. We are to love those who spitefully use us and abuse us and victimize us again and again. Let me tell you, this is not easy in any situation, but it's even harder to love when we feel deeply and repeatedly violated and our trust has been destroyed. Yet the command remains, love your enemies. We can't escape it. This is the final step in forgiveness. We have not totally forgiven until we can bless those who have hurt us so deeply. To say it another way, we cannot be set free until we set them free to be blessed by the Lord. R.T. Kendall says you must totally forgive them, release them, and you will be free. So the question then becomes both personal and practical. How do we love our enemies? I want to give you a few suggestions. Greet them. Greet your enemies. This is a simple step we often overlook. One part of loving our enemies is to greet them graciously when we see them. Sometimes, often perhaps, instead of turning the other cheek, we turn the whole body away and we won't say hello to someone who has hurt us. Some of us have been quite adept at looking the other way, ducking into a room, crossing to the other side of the street, or even using caller ID to keep from greeting those who have hurt us. But if we only greet our friends, what benefit is that? Do not even sinners greet each other? One part of loving your enemies is to greet them instead of avoiding them. Number 2, disarm your enemies. That's what you do when you turn the other cheek or you go the second mile. You disarm them by doing the very thing they least expect. Number 3, do good to them. It is fascinating that both times in this message when Jesus says, love your enemies, he follows it immediately by saying, do good to them, so that we won't miss the point. Doing good to your enemies means seeing beyond your pain and the meanness, looking beyond that to their humanity. It means seeing them as people made in the image of God and understanding that there is something twisted inside that causes all of us to do nasty things. Doing good means that you do what will promote their healing despite the way they've treated you. The idea is you make the first move. You send the email, make the phone call, make the contact, bridge the gap. You set the appointment. Fourthly, refuse to speak evil about them. That's what Jesus meant when he said, bless those who curse you. It means that you refuse to think evil thoughts and refuse to speak evil words against those who have wronged you. Proverbs has a great idea to say about the power of words. Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Every time we open our mouth, life and death comes out. I'm increasingly impressed with this thought. Forgiveness, in many cases, is not possible because we will not stop talking. As long as we talk over and over again about how others have hurt us, we will never find the strength to forgive. At some point, we got to stop talking and start forgiving. Number 5, thank God for them. If you have an honest-to-goodness enemy, you should thank God for them every day. If you believe in the sovereignty of God, you must believe that your enemy was sent to you by God's design and with God's approval. Your enemy could not torment you apart from God's permission. Behind your enemy stands the hand of God, and God would never permit it if he did not intend to bring something good out of it. You should take a picture of your enemy and frame it and put it where you'll see it a lot, and thank God for your enemy every time you look at the picture. Number 6, pray for your enemies. I read about Martin Niemöller, a German pastor who was arrested by the Nazis in World War II, who prayed daily from his prison cell for his captors. Other prisoners asked him why he prayed for those who were his enemies. Do you know anyone who needs your prayers more than your enemies? He replied. But what if you hate the person you are praying for? Well, tell that to the Lord. He's not going to be surprised. Then say something like this: Lord, I hate this person, but you already know that. I ask you to love this person through me because I can't do it on my own power. I ask you for love that I don't have and can't begin to produce. God will not turn you away. God will come with an honest heart, admitting to him that you need his love to flow through you in order that it might flow through to others. And number 7, ask God to bless your enemies. Here's a simple way to do that. When faced with someone who has mistreated you, ask God to do for them what you want God to do for you. Seek the blessing for them that you want God to do for you. Think of it this way: the greater the hurt, the greater the potential blessing that will come when we totally forgive, and by God's grace, bless those who curse us. Let me offer one final word. Your enemy is a gift from God to you. Though you don't know it, and often can't see it, the person who has hurt you so deeply is a gift from God to you. To say that is not to excuse evil or condone mistreatment. It's to say exactly what Joseph said concerning his brothers. You meant it for evil against me, but God meant it for good. Our enemies humble us. They keep us on our knees. They reveal our weaknesses, and they expose our total need for God. Just as David needed King Saul to pursue him and persecute him and repeatedly attempt to kill him, we need enemies that God sends to us. If we didn't need them, he wouldn't send them. Therefore, we thank God, who knows best, and we love our enemies the best that we can. Often God raises up an enemy to see if we really want to be like Jesus. He will keep our enemies alive as long as we need them. In 1957, Martin Luther King Jr. preached on loving your enemies at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. As he came to the end of the sermon, he said, there's a little tree planted on a hill, and on that tree hangs the most influential person who ever came into this world. In the cross of Christ, the love of God was broken into human history. Now we know what love looks like in a world filled with hatred and distrust and bitterness and mistreatment and abuse. As the hymn writer said, see from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. It's a message from God that love is the only way. It's the only way to heaven. It's the only way to live on earth. If we believe in Jesus at all, we must say to our enemies, I love you. I'd rather die than hate you. When Jesus walks with us, we will find the strength to love our enemies, to bless those who curse us, and to pray for those who despitefully use us. Well, we come to the close of this series on total forgiveness. I hope it's been a healing experience for all of us, and it has been a cleansing experience for me personally. When R.T. Kendall wrote the book Total Forgiveness, he mentioned the song, "Let the past be the past at last." That's the beauty of forgiveness. When we learn to forgive and be forgiven, the past can be the past at last. God bless. Have a wonderful day, and until we meet again, let's continue to exchange prayers daily.